only reason I knew about the Olympic Games was back in 1984. I was hosting in Los Angeles, LA, and my grandmother just kept calling, and when you hear your name full, Beatrice, I knew I had to get home quick.
I just started cycling, and we had Anthony Moss, who came to talk to our school when I was in the 7th form. And we were just thinking, my God, it would be so cool to go to Olympic Games.
Loader wins gold for New Zealand.
We were watching Ian Ferguson and Paul Mack win the gold medal in '84.
And there's Peter Snell won the gold medal. New Zealand coming up, and New Zealand have won the gold medal in the 8s.
We'll forget the Todd for 2 and 2 for Todd.
And he's clear over that. He can do what he likes with these last two. It really doesn't matter. It's Todd for 2 and 2 for Todd. Back by Michael. The shot by Anderson, and it's there. New Zealand have scored through Tony Anderson.
I was lying in bed and having a dream about how I wanted to go to Olympics. I don't think either kid what sport I just wanted to go.
Albert William, he's going away now from the bucket. He's going away, Albert William.
That was my introduction to the Olympics, and I guess it was kind of a way of my grandmother sort of going, maybe you should look into this.
That's what I want to do. I'm going to be an Olympian.
In August 2004, New Zealand sent a team of athletes to the celebration of the Games of the 28th Olympiad in Athens. This is the story of a team committed to creating an environment that inspired, empowered, and supported one another, that recognised achievement, was enjoyable to be part of, and where everyone wore the silver fern with pride. This is a story of Olympism in action, a story of one team, one spirit, creating meaning, connection, belonging, and inspiration. Olympism has its roots in ancient Greek society. The Greeks encouraged people to develop their physical, moral, intellectual, cultural and artistic qualities harmoniously. This philosophy was celebrated through the Olympic Games, first held in 776 BC. All the Greek city-states took part, and the Games became a symbol of their unity. The celebration of Olympism ceased in 393 AD, when the Olympic Games were banned. Recognised as the father of modern Olympism, Frenchman Baron Pierre de Coubertin established the Olympic movement in 1894. De Coubertin took ancient Greek ideals and introduced them to the rest of the world through the restaging of the Olympic Games. The first Games of the modern era were held in Athens in 1896. And de Coubertin saw that sport could promote the balanced development of people as an essential step in building a peaceful society that places a high value on human dignity. In 2004, the Olympic Games returned to Athens for the first time in 108 years. Now a vibrant European city, Athens would play host to 202 countries, gathered for 16 days in a celebration of humanity. To be in Greece in 2004 is to understand the strong links that exist between this Mediterranean country and New Zealand. During the Second World War, New Zealand soldiers were deployed to mainland Greece or to the islands to repel the invading forces. Many members of the New Zealand Olympic team came to Phaleron Cemetery to pay their respects to those who never returned. One of those was an Olympian. 1932 Los Angeles rower George Cook was killed during the battle for Crete, and he's remembered at Phaleron.
We as a team only had the opportunity to compete at those games because of the sacrifices that, all those New Zealanders that have been there and fought and died. And I found it emotionally, extraordinarily moving for me, and probably one of the most powerful things that I've ever been involved in.
In May 1941, the New Zealand Olympic Committee, in a reply to the Greek Olympic Committee's call for support, cabled the following message. New Zealand's athletes and people are filled with admiration for Greece's magnificent effort. New Zealand's athletes are playing their part in the fight against aggression and tyranny. As part of the tribute, a ceremonial vessel was buried at the foot of Face 13, which records the names of 350 New Zealand soldiers, including George Cook.
The symbol of being this pot was the Te Papa Tuanuku, the Earth Mother. You know, again, where the souls go in terms of before they make their journey to the spiritual afterlife. It was again a more philosophical ceremony whereby we were trying to link Aotearoa with Greece.
The vessel was made by Manos Nathan, himself of Greek Maori descent.
From a spiritual point of view, and from Māoriness too, it's a special orca that was buried with a pot to link, you know, those spirits, those souls, those men, you know, back to Aotearoa.
I felt I owed it to my grandfathers, and one of the only honours I can pay, that I can do, you know, to pay tribute to those guys that went over there, my age and younger, and some older as well, I guess. But you know, and gave it all up for freedom, for their country, you know, under their flag, and I just have very, very strong feelings about it. I thought I owed it to those guys that died there.
A very moving occasion, and one that I'll always remember as being one of the most moving things I've ever been involved in. Just stunning.
As a symbol of the enduring bonds of friendship and unity between the two peoples, the Hellenic artwork, or Patritha, meaning motherland, was presented to the New Zealand team by the Greek community of New Zealand. To cement the bonds of friendship established between the two Olympic committees in 1941, Patritha was gifted to the Hellenic Olympic Committee during the Olympic Games and stands proudly at their offices. The Olympic Games bring people together with the common aim of peace. They provide a unique means of uniting people from different cultures in harmony and friendship. The Athletes' Village plays a critical role. A village life brings together all athletes and officials to promote mutual understanding.
The village is for me, I saw it as a negative and as an environment which would affect my race. But because it was in Sydney, that's sort of what it was for me, unfortunately. But when we went to Athens, the culture that Dave and his team had put together and the environment which was in the New Zealand team, it didn't become a negative, it became a massive positive and became an enormous amount of inspiration and encouragement.
When New Zealand's advance party arrived, the village was an empty canvas, a canvas that needed inspiration. And setting the environmental tone would prove to be an important element in the achievement of this New Zealand team.
The Olympics, two things. One, they are the strongest athletic sporting performance tourism. It's a goal that all athletes want to aspire to and achieve. But it is bigger than that. And it is a celebration of humanity, and as a team we worked hard on both. We wanted to absolutely support athletes in their sporting endeavours, but also wanted them to get some understanding and feel for what it was to be part of this wonderful celebration of humanity as well. And I think as a team we got the balance pretty right.
By the time the first athletes arrived, New Zealand's part of the village would be transformed in a way that portrayed what it means to be a New Zealander and what makes Kiwis unique, into an environment that would inspire athletes to excel at the Olympic Games. Providing meaning, connection, belonging and inspiration were essential ingredients in motivating people to achieve the one team, one spirit culture.
So going to win the Olympic Games is special.
But going back to Athens and to Greece was simply unbelievable. Back to Olympia where it all began, and because of the things we did around the time, to give a sense of that spiritual dimension that was there, both from what it is to be in New Zealand or what it is to be in that environment of Greece and the gods and all those things. I think it did give people a chance to go to places that they hadn't been before.
A key component of providing a sense of belonging was the manifestation of things symbolic of New Zealand's unique cultural identity.
The chants that I chanted were really to settle people's minds that, Aotearoa is here for the time being. The ritual performed, is an ancestral stuff, and it's about all the poetry that we could, as I say, that's involved in the kawa to be performed. It was about easing people's minds. This was to try and make the village, through the popo, through the pathway down into the house, as habitable as anybody can make it, and that's the rituals that we have in our culture anyway. That's that are thousands of years old. The haka was important in terms of a passionate way of welcoming those who arrived, those who were victorious. It's where you reinvent yourself. Again, it's very, very passionate, but it's very disciplined, and that's become the icon really of Aotearoa.
It was almost like, man, we should have come here weeks ago. Honestly, Brett and I were just totally overwhelmed. I remember going back to our room after we'd met everyone and got our gear, and just the two of us sitting down and going, my God, did that actually happen? It was just absolutely wicked. Just an incredible way to be welcomed into the team.
It just gives you a sense of home, a sense of pride, a sense of just that inner feeling of this is what it means to be a New Zealand athlete, representing your country, representing everyone that's gone before you, your whole history and culture.
Maori gifted treasures to this team, including the ceremonial kakahu or cloak made from the native plant, the flax, and from finest feathers from New Zealand's national bird, the kiwi.
The moulding stone was, again, people loved touching it. The more they touched it, the more shiny it became. Sheer beauty, longevity, all that stuff that tribes went to war over. Just something to touch, a touchstone, and your days, your week is made.
Amstay told us the stories of Fern and how it protects and nurtures and encourages and inspires, and so we wanted to have some meaning around all the things that we did. The whole meet and greet process that we went through, that we met people at the airport, brought them through, haka and welcomed the first team that arrived. The haka was important. But more important in my view was when lined up and we shook your hand. Welcome into this team, to this family. You're an important component. You're special. We want you to be a part of this family.
Welcome to Aotearoa, Greece. Welcome to Middle Earth. We've got the whole 9 yards here, and we've been working extraordinarily hard over the last week to create an environment here that's going to do all we can to support all the effort that you put in over the last little while. There's a whole team of people here. Their only task over the next 3 weeks is to totally commit to support your performance.
To actually walk in and have that, I think that really, for a lot of us, made us feel welcome. Like we were a part of a team. We weren't just a sport that was a part of the whole much larger Olympic team. No, we were one team.
It wasn't just the 100 metres they were coming for. There was a wider experience that they were part of, and that they could grow and have confidence and unlock that potential everybody has.
We're working really hard on creating a family, a team, and for a lot of us we get one crack at it. We get one crack at being part of the Olympics and one crack at performing to the absolute peak and ability that we've all got. So we're not just 17 different individual teams. We're a New Zealand team, absolutely committed to support putting one of those on.
As part of the village protocol, the New Zealand team was welcomed to the Olympic Games in a short ceremony. The occasion was marked by the raising of the New Zealand flag, further enhancing the sense of belonging and national pride. Coming together in one place at one time is always difficult for Olympic teams. As the days rapidly counted down to the Games opening, athletes were busy preparing themselves for what lay ahead. But for the New Zealand team, the function on the eve of the opening ceremony and the announcement of the team captain and flag bearer was an important opportunity to create unity within the team. Coincidentally, the 2004 Olympic team contained the last 4 flag bearers, either as still competing athletes or coaches. To create a link with our cultural heritage, the ceremonial kakahu was passed from the 1988 flag bearer Ian Ferguson to Barcelona 1992 flag bearer Mark Todd, 1996 captain Barbara Kendall, and the Sydney 2000 team leader Blythe Tate.
There was a real essence of trying to link all those flag bearers of the past with all flag bearers moving into the future, because the only people who can wear Mautanga, Southern Cross, are Olympic flag bearers. So it's a really special, unique group.
In 2004, the honour of leading the team would go to double Commonwealth Games discus champion Beatrice Faumuina.
Welcome, Beatrice Faumuina.
When Dave Curry announced it, I started to cry, and I was just kind of really highly emotional, and the whole track and field team just stood up and went crazy and nuts, and everybody was clapping, and then it just kind of filtered through the whole room, and it was just lovely, because all of a sudden I had the pat on the back, and people were going, yeah, great, be glad it was you, all these photos, and then I had to address the team, and I was going, oh no! And what do you say to people who are sporting legends? I mean, everyone that was in there, to me, was an icon of their sport and of New Zealand. And the only thing I could think of was to say thank you, we're proud to be Kiwi, proud to be New Zealander, more so proud to be a part of the team and leading and walking with them.
Mai te tipua, mai te tahito, mai te kāhuanga riki, mai te whiwiki ngātua.
Because of that sense of culture, we all of a sudden were identifiable. People from all over the world were coming in to saying, hey, what's New Zealand all about? Why are they so together? And then they would come down and see Middle Earth and see this is who we are, this is where we're from, and all of a sudden they admired us for it.
New Zealand athletes have been in the Olympic arena since 1908.
Fantastic.
The power of black was a potent sight as the team headed for the opening ceremony.
It walked down the bus, and just like these people are with me, not against me.
A larger than expected athletes contingent would make up the New Zealand team at the opening ceremony. However, competition in the early days meant that some were required to rest. As the teams congregated, it was apparent that the opening ceremony was a celebration of universality and cultural diversity.
Hey, this is great. It's colours, it's brilliant. What an amazing stage, just fabulous. Just a few words. Well, I get excited now that all the team arriving, seeing us in that wave of black coming across is pretty neat. And yes, real anticipation. I think we walk into that stadium and behind the entrance and by the time I think is going to have the end of that clinic standing in. So yeah, really looking forward to that.
It was a moment that I cannot obviously rerun or rehearse. It was something very special, and I was glad that I was able to share it with the team and with all the supporters back home. And whoever the next person will be will just cherish that moment, which is what I have done. I remember clearly when we're trying to get ready, just walking into the stadium, and it's just total mayhem, because at that stage, everybody's dying to hear their country being announced, and that was it. We were going to all hit the stadium en masse, and that's classically what we did. We all kind of ran out into the stadium en masse, and I remember standing there with a flag, and you've watched other ceremonies, and you've said to yourself, okay, make sure there's enough space between you and the other country. Well, that didn't really quite happen, as we were, we didn't get the 10-minute call, we only got the 40-minute call, and then we got the please run now call. Every time I went to stretch out the flag was actually draped on top of the woman that had the New Zealand banner, also the country in front of us. And I thought, oh, that wasn't quite, and I just thought, the flag's out there, make sure the flag's right, the team's going, that was our role, was to get out there. And I remember walking around the stadium and just overwhelming. It was neat to sort of see everything that was happening up front, and gosh, I never again you walk into a stadium where there's over, 90-odd, 100,000 people. I don't think you could repeat anything like that.
Watching the best athletes of the world give their best here in Athens.
Athletes, through your conduct, give us reasons to believe in sport that is increasingly credible and pure.
The athletes of the world gathered together for 16 days of peaceful competition, this opening ceremony marked the beginning of this celebration of humanity. The 2004 Olympic Games were an inspirational experience for the New Zealand team. Teenage shot putter Valerie Adams became one of the first women athletes ever to compete on the hallowed ground at Olympia in its 3,000-year history. While many more sporting experiences await the young shot putter, 2004 at Olympia will surely remain one of the most inspirational moments of her life. The days of competition had arrived. It was the culmination of a lifetime's athletic endeavour. New Zealand athletes over 18 sports competed with distinction, and for 6 of those athletes, the 2004 Games brought with it the ultimate achievement. Wearing the silver fern with pride, these athletes excelled within the Olympic spirit.
The weight of a nation on the shoulders of Sarah Ulmer. and she's away.
But the twins already jumping out to a half-a-length lead now over the German double, who are sticking right beside them.
The world champion Ben Curry of New Zealand is in lane 5. 24 kilometres of the journey gone, and we have 6, including 2 New Zealanders.
There they are, the Ever Swindells moving nicely together, both bodies in sync, showing the miles and miles of training that they've been doing together.
So Orma has turned it around, and she's turned on the afterburner. She's usually very strong in the last kilometres there, Orma. Here's a move from Hamish Carter, making his bid for the gold medal right here, a couple of kilometres out for the first line.
1,300 metres gone of this race, the New Zealanders are moving away.
Here comes Fury, lifting his rating. Will Fury get past Van Coven? Yes, Fury up in the second. What an athlete, Sarah Orma. Incredible, the world record holder at 3:26.4. She is in a class of her own, Sarah Orma. Hamish Carter about to win the gold medal in the men's triathlon. Across the finish line, try for New Zealand. Finished. Gold medal for Hamish Carter. It hasn't finished yet. Silver medal for New Zealand. Fury of New Zealand second, following the great tradition set by Ferguson McDonald, Thompson and Bramwell. And after the disappointing of missing qualifying for Sydney 2000, they went on to win 2 world titles. Now it's a golden treble for New Zealand's super double. Take a bow, Sarah Orma, in the front straight, and the world record may fall as well. It will! What a moment! 3:24.537. It's a moment to cherish. Pure gold for a humble champion. Gold in Athens for Georgina and Caroline Ever Swindell.
It was the morning of my qualifying night, so I watched, New Zealand win gold with the twins. The morning just before I basically rode myself out of the village to go and qualify in for my first race at the Olympics. And I remember watching it. All cyclists were watching it in our lounge, and it was my God, New Zealand just won an Olympic gold medal. I was like, I want that! It was, God, that just looked so cool. And we heard the haka on TV, and I heard the national anthem, and it's just, man, let's bring it on. It's just so cool. It was just the perfect timing.
Look at someone like Sarah and Hamish, and we hold them up there, and to think that they get inspired by us. I was quite put myself on a level.
And now,
it's a dream.
Are these the 2 mentors?
It was nice to have 2 Kiwis up there, and it's something that's very rarely ever happens, and it was something pretty special. Although we gave each other strength, we still wanted to beat each other more than anything, so it was a good thing to have.
He's kicking clear of Bevan Doherty, and away goes Hamish Carter.
I thought I was running pretty fast at that stage, but to make a mistake and not to check and someone to pass me would have been devastating. So it was just the last 50 metres, and it was great to have that little bit of distance to enjoy the fact that I'd suddenly realised my dream.
Hamish Carter about to win the gold medal in the men's triathlon. Across the finish line, try for New Zealand.
It was disbelief, and it was like, basically, holy crap, I've done it. It was just so much to absorb on that moment. And it's a time that I'll never forget, a moment in my life where I was just like, I'd crossed the finish line and it actually had done it. And it was just disbelief, really.
Gold medal for Hamish Carter. It hasn't finished yet. Silver medal for New Zealand. The world champion. What a day for him. Sure, he would have loved to have had the gold medal, but when he looks across the dais and sees his good mate Hamish there with the gold, I don't think there's going to be much disappointment for Bevan Doherty. We're looking at a study of human courage and human ability. She's worked so hard for this moment, Sarah Orma.
The number one difference was Brendan, because he quit his job and he managed the whole project of the Olympic campaign, of our Olympic campaign, where he managed 2 new bikes being built. He managed my actual training from day to day. He actually trained with me a lot of the time, so I had a training hack, if you like, that was always, he's still a little bit better than me, so always pushed me. And he travelled with me everywhere, so I had someone with me everywhere I went instead of travelling on my own. We were just basically a 2-man team. I certainly wouldn't have done it with a stranger. And my whole career, my dad's looked after me from when I was a wee sprog, and then I sort of looked after myself for a wee while, and then Brendan sort of helped on and off for the last few years. So I've never really had an outsider take control of myself and my program, and to be honest, I don't think I could.
There's a partner. Well done, Sarah. Former cyclist himself, the team's for shooting, but it's a great moment.
People asked us if we were emotional or cried when we got the medal, and we were like, no, we're just standing there like looking at everything and just excited. And it wasn't until we got to watch Sarah race, when we actually watching her, I mean, it gives me goosebumps now, watching her get her gold medal, that's when you kind of wanted to cry a little bit, because it was so cool, and then you kind of appreciate what it's like for family and friends watching us get our medal, I guess.
There's a lot of support out there for us. Although you're such a long way from home, that's what the Olympics is all about. Teammates and friends, and for some there was family, so all those things make it pretty special.
A proud moment for New Zealand. Sarah Ulmer, the Olympic champion, smashing her own world record in the process. And she just loves the support she's getting from the Kiwi contingent. We're doing the haka in the crowd, would you believe?
I also reckon that the haka that the New Zealand team did for me from the stands before I won, I mean, I get bloody goosebumps now thinking about it. It's just seeing a sea of white shirts, and the velodrome was quiet, the music had finished, they were just about to announce the medal winners, and then there's just a bunch of, God, I don't know how many people were there, 40 to 60 Kiwis, congratulating me in a completely Kiwi way, thousands of kilometres away from home. I was like, man, and that was way cooler than shaking a stranger's hand and having a medal put around my neck. That was everything. That was winning the Olympics.
Winning the gold medal was great, and it was the most fantastic feeling, but the things like the haka and the spirit in the team made it even sweeter, because it was, there were your peers, your fellow athletes who had worked just as hard as you had, and had put just as much into the build-up as you had, and they were bestowing this honour on you, I guess, and it was so moving, and it was just so fantastic. I'll never forget it.
On behalf of the team, we want to welcome all the rowing crew here today. To have 5 teams in the final was an extraordinary effort, and we congratulate all of you.
Said, you got to go to the village, never told us what for, and it was a bit like the welcoming when we first arrived on the first day, unexpected, but really cool, because I guess we'd been in Europe for 3 and a bit months at that stage to have all that Kiwiness. Yeah, it was very Kiwi, very Kiwi, which is cool.
And you just saw the sea of white shirts. Before we even got close to them, they started doing a haka with the most energy I've ever seen that night from a bunch of people that had probably done a million hakas before, over the last 2 weeks. And Samari Halberg and Dave Curry just giving it snot, It was just incredible.
It was really, really powerful stuff. There was no place else I wanted to be apart from doing the haka for those boys when they came in. They did it so proud.
You're right.
We're only a small team and a bigger team, and I think the passion these guys show here today was you guys all with us. So thank you very much for your support. One more thing, if you see a triathlete lying on the ground somewhere over the next 24 hours, please pick them up and bring them home.
One team, one spirit, born out of meaning, connection, belonging and inspiration. Not just a team for 16 days, but a team that will endure for a lifetime.
You've all completed with courage, and our results, I think, reflect the courage and the commitment and the application that all of you have made. And we've made a real mark. We certainly made a mark in the village. We certainly made a mark in competition, and we certainly made a mark on the world stage. I want to acknowledge firstly our medalists, Georgina and Caroline, Sarah, Hamish and Beverly. Could you all come forward, thanks.
The culture and the attitude and the friendships and the amazing power I think we have as a team is phenomenal, and the haka when I came back was something I'll never forget, and every single one of you has inspired me to do what I've done, and it's the whole team thing, it's just amazing. So thanks to Dave and his team for just putting on such an amazing atmosphere for us to perform in.
I honestly believe One Team, One Spirit is absolutely spot on for what Dave Curry and his team did at the Olympic Games and the Commonwealth Games. And I think it's just grown in momentum over since the Commonwealth Games to the Olympic Games. And they just hit it right on the head in Athens with literally One Team, One Spirit.
I think that's one of the hardest jobs to do because everyone's in their own sport and they come and join up for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks they're still even split up. So for me to come away with a bunch of friends, I think that, and everyone else I know I've made friends with other teams, and surely that's got to be a result of the whole One Team, One Spirit.
I think we talk about being in spirit with people, and so New Zealand as a whole, and I think embraced the team, and so there was a lot of the spirit of support from New Zealand was there, I guess, underpinning all the things that we were doing, and the families are doing that, and there was a spirit of teammates supporting one another.
I just think it was the most awesome experience to have a team where it seemed like everyone got along with everyone. Everyone was great. You go into the food hall, how's it going? You finished your event, there's people there coming to watch you. You go and watch them. Just a real give and take kind of atmosphere that I don't think a lot of other teams have, and it's something that friends of ours from other swim teams really comment on. Even now, still talking about it.
We've come all the way from New Zealand, and we're here to do our best. Flying the flag of home.
Chris and Greg, wrote this extraordinary song, which really personified what we were as a team, and as a nation, and individuals. And I've never been with a more emotional team that had gelled, enjoyed one another, and felt it had been a pretty special time of their lives.
I think they come from a lot from the fact that the team was set up with one team, one spirit, and we had one family because it felt like a family, and that's the key to it, I think. From the whole outset, it was a family group and a joining of everybody together in a team, and it always felt like that. So the song sort of came essentially from that. It wasn't hard to write, really.
It came from the atmosphere of Athens, you know, the New Zealand part of the village, the welcome that we got when we turned up with a haka, and when people got their medals, they got the haka, and you know, we were all proud, even though we weren't athletes, we were proud to be New Zealanders, proud to be wearing the silver fern as part of the Olympic movement. It was just, everything there was awesome.
For me, that was just a bit of magic. And if you commission somebody, you know, and given them 3 years to write a song for you, these guys did it in an afternoon. It just nailed it.
You almost felt like you had to bottle it, really. Like it was there to be sung, and so someone had to do it.
We've come all the way from New Zealand. We're here to do our best, flying the flag of our homeland and putting our skills to the test. Striving for glory, we're driven, a voice from the southern stars. Well, we're Kiwis, we're proud and we're ready to show the whole world who we are. The fern unites us as father of Aotearoa, we're proud. One team, one spirit, one family, from the land of the long white cloud. The Olympic spirit is in us, and we all dress in white and in black. And when we behold one of us with gold, our haka will welcome them back. The fern unites us as father of Aotearoa, we're proud. One team, one spirit, one family, from the land of the long white cloud. Striving for glory, we're driven, a voice from the southern stars. Well, we're Kiwis, we're proud and we're ready to show the whole world who we are. Take one last glance as you're leaving, for your memories will carry you back. For gold is the prize and the spirits you try in the heat of Greek sun on our backs. And thanks for the good times we've all shared together. Our bodies may alter with age, but we'll all remember Athens 04 when the Kiwis performed on life's stage. All striving for glory, we're driven, a voice from the southern stars. Well, we're Kiwis, we're proud and we're ready to show the whole world who we are. The fern unites us as father of Aotearoa, we're proud. One team, one spirit, one family, from the land of the long white cloud. One team, one spirit, one family, from the land of the long white cloud. One team, one spirit, one family, from the land of the long white cloud.
All of our medalists at Athens, quiet people, certainly confident people, and as you got to know them and welcomed them back into the village, the thought that struck me was that to a person, they were not big people, they were just normal people. Yeah, very humble in victory.
You've got to open yourself up so you can enjoy the Olympics and enjoy what the New Zealand team gives you, and let that sort of stuff in, because it's really, really neat, and you may never get another chance to have it.
You know, the goals we set ourselves, we achieve them. That we wanted people to you know, take pride in wearing the silver fern, to take pride in being New Zealander, to excel on the world stage, to understand that it was a you know, a celebration of humanity, to celebrate success, and all the things that we wanted to do. I look back and think we did it.
Even though there's so many things happening outside of the world, when you're within the Olympic home or the Olympic arena, all of a sudden everybody's treated the same. Okay, we may have very different sporting levels, but you will not be judged, or there will be no prejudice of your race, religion, or where you're from. And that's a message that could be set out a lot more often these days.
I always said that if I was granted by the Olympic gods the privilege of winning in the Olympic Games, let it be Rome. But after this last experience, perhaps I should be saying, let it be Athens.
We've come all the way from New Zealand. We're here to do our best, flying the flag of our homeland and putting our skills to the test. Striving for glory, we're driven, a voice from the southern stars. Well, we're Kiwis, we're proud and we're ready to show the whole world who we are. The fern unites us as Farnham, of Aotearoa we're proud.